Welcome to this week's episode of Cape Critiquers. Today we are reviewing X-Men: Days of Future Past from 2014. Directed by Bryan Singer, the film merges the original and new X-Men cast in a pivotal chapter following Wolverine's mission to prevent a dystopian future. Celebrated for its storytelling and special effects, Days of Future Past revitalized the X-Men franchise and influenced the comic book movie landscape with its deep social themes. In this episode, we'll discuss topics like how the film restored the X-Men movie's continuity, character development and performances, themes and social messages, the original Days of Future Past comic and its adaptation, and our personal critiques and favorite moments. So sit back, relax, and join us as we explore X-Men: Days of Future Past. Welcome back to Cape Critiquers, everybody. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and leave a like underneath this video because it really helps with how it performs in YouTube's algorithm. Today, we get into X-Men: Days of Future Past, and this is the fourth film on our Deadpool and Wolverine countdown. We're getting very close.
Whoop, whoop.
I'm very excited.
Yeah,
what were you, month
and
away?
they are.
Yeah.
And they're hyping it up. I mean, they're selling gin.
Well, that's his gin company.
I know that's his gin
Aviation
company.
gin.
I've never
Yeah.
tasted it. Anybody taste it?
No.
No.
I've been getting into gin lately since we've gotten that one that I shouldn't mention here, but it's very good. I want to try his.
Yeah.
So,
He
but
also, I think it's DiGiorno's has had like a bunch of
Oh,
Deadpool
really?
and Wolverine.
I think I saw
branded
something,
pizzas.
the end of something.
Yeah.
The popcorn holders are fantastic. So,
Yeah.
You know, they're definitely stretching it out. Disney's letting them have a little bit of fun here. So
Yeah.
I think that's good, too.
The king of cross promotion is Ryan Reynolds, so.
Yeah.
I gotta say, all the fans are looking forward to this, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to be a disappointment.
I don't
but
think so.
I hope the movie itself is
Yeah.
lives up to the
The hype.
hype.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. They both look fantastic, so I'm excited to see some of the costumes and everything else going on here. So.
I just read this week, and I kind of almost agree with it, that now it's Hugh Jackman's going to carry the MCU again.
Yeah, well,
Again,
yeah.
you know, it's like he kind of carried
Yeah.
the X-Men
Yeah.
movies, and
Let it happen, Captain. You know,
and
Yeah.
you know, I would have argued with you a few years ago saying, no, you know, it's
Robert
Tony
Downey,
Stark, Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
is going to be the guy to carry it, but
but I think he's getting a little jealous. I mean, there's all kinds of things he wants to come back.
I agree, 100%.
You know, so let him come and do
I
his
agree.
babble. I love it.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, for the longest time, Hugh Jackman has always been the guy where it's like, there has to be some way that we could take, like, Spider-Man and the X-Men and the Avengers and bring them together.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
He's been saying it for 20 years.
Absolutely.
So,
You know, it's a shame he actually aged,
Yeah.
you know, from his first appearances. But, yeah, I mean, he's a super likable actor,
Yeah.
and he's got a great character. So,
yeah, the longest running
yeah.
actor in a superhero role.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So,
And I have to say, what, this 2014?
yeah.
He was jacked.
I
in
think this is the
movie.
biggest he ever
Yeah.
got. Maybe this or The Wolverine.
Yeah, he
I
was
read.
jacked in this movie. They had that scene where he wakes up in 1973 coming out of the bed. It was like, holy shit.
Negative
Yeah.
5% body fat or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
I don't know if that, but just,
Yeah, but
I
it
don't
was
think
like,
that's
all-
fucking
it's not
possible.
possible.
Yeah.
Breaking the rules of
but
physics.
you exaggeration.
Damn.
All right. So, where are we?
All right, now it's time to hop into Days of Future Past.
I feel like a time travel movie is like pretty hard to do most of the time. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
ambitious,
Mhm.
but I feel like just watching it, like it did work really well, and just like I feel like where most X-Men movies have like done their best is when they like intersect at just like a good movie and just like building up on the lore of the previous ones and just like you know.
Yeah. I mean, you can make the argument that this is a sequel to like almost two franchises. I mean,
Yeah.
it's all the X-Men franchise, but this is just a big sequel to like even The Last Stand. This is a sequel to Days of First Class. So
Yeah, so that was the other thing I was discussing with Jack earlier. We didn't watch that because Wolverine was in it.
Well,
First
he is
Class.
in it.
he is in it.
Yeah,
but
kind
like
of. Yeah,
2 seconds.
It just tells Charles and Meg need to go fuck themselves.
Exactly. Remember
Which
what you
is
told me last time?
Yeah.
It is referenced. Yeah.
But that's what I mean. The movie is referenced an awful lot. The shot in the back, a lot of times they reference
Even the mutants that have perished since.
That's right.
Even in the files, you can see like Azazel.
Azazel. Yeah, that was pretty cool, seeing Azazel, and then the angel with one wing, the whole bit.
I love the opening to this one.
I thought it was fantastic.
This whole movie is incredibly stylized.
Yes.
And this is Bryan Singer again.
Yeah.
I agree.
Back after not doing The Last Stand. But he did First Class, though, as well, right?
I don't think so. He
Oh,
might have
really?
been a producer or something.
Okay.
But yeah, it is like after like the fourth allegation at this point.
So, yeah, I mean, terrible guy. And even at this point, he is known to be like a terrible groomer.
Right.
But,
Oh, boy.
I mean, just to separate the art from the artist at this point. Even just like Charles, like talking about the future and like their destiny and stuff like that. As you fly through this dystopian future.
Yeah.
It's just incredible.
Some of those opening scenes, there's all kinds of characters in, walking like, sort of like it was in Germany, walking to whatever, camps they're going to. But you see Sabretooth's in there, and people like that are walking, and like, holy crap.
I didn't even pick up on Sabretooth.
Yeah, they have those red things on their backs, and they're definitely captured.
Yeah.
I just like how they set up like all the mutants dying or in the battle later. But yeah, it's just like amazing fight scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody like plays their part so well, like the characters, not the actors.
Also,
It's
I
very-
love Blink, like the addition of Blink to it. Just the use of the portals.
Oh, yeah.
And even like
That was
cool.
probably
The
my
use-
favorite.
Yeah.
How great it was, like just to throw the portal up, like to turn the
Yeah.
the sentry around.
Yeah. But that's it. Blink obviously had history with this power, and used it wisely and very intelligently. Like you said, the Sentinel beating up one Sentinel, beating
man.
itself up because the way she was blinking
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
I
thought
even
that
like
was
the idea
fantastic.
that like it's ultimately her downfall in
Yeah,
that fight as
it's
well.
true. Yes.
Right.
Like she gets caught.
Yep.
Stabbed.
Yeah.
Because they learn,
Yeah.
and that's what it
Just
is.
a very interesting team too. Just like Warpath, Blink, Colossus is there, Iceman, and I'm pretty sure in the comics, Kitty Pryde is actually the one that goes back in time.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Wow.
I don't even remember who has the like power to send people back, but it's not her.
It's
It's
obviously.
not her, yeah, definitely not her.
Weird thing about Blink though, every time they've had her like 3 times in like shows and stuff and movies, but like every time she's portrayed, she's Asian, but in the comics she's like from the Bahamas.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's funny.
like I don't know why. It's weird.
Yeah. Also, speaking of Bishop, I fucking love Bishop in this movie.
And you notice
He was
Bishop
nasty, right?
obviously
Yeah.
got away. He had the
Well, yeah,
mutant M.
he has that in the comics too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not because of like he's from some alternate future. So
Yeah. He's great in this movie.
I also just
Yeah.
fucking love his powers.
Yeah.
He's so fucking cool.
it's kind of like a Colossus moment in X2, where
Mhm.
we see him for like a minute. He's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely one of my
But-
favorite characters.
He's running with Kitty, and they're running through stuff. But
Yeah.
at the last second, she touches him so he can go. It's just the way they did that
Yeah.
was just amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
I mean,
She was one of my favorite characters. I got to tell
she's
you.
great. Or they are.
She
great.
played it. Yeah, she played it really well.
They.
Yeah, they.
I
But they played it really well.
I think, like I said from the Last Stand,
Mm-hmm.
Kitty Pryde never impressed me with her abilities up until I seen her actually use
Yep.
her abilities
Yes.
in
Yeah.
certain ways, and I was like, damn.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah. I think something I noticed is like Brett Ratner, who did Last Stand, and then you compare it to Bryan Singer, who did, majority of the X-Men movies. I think Singer just gets the X-Men more,
Probably, yeah.
especially like power scaling and just, how they would use
Yeah.
their powers.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, I
because
agree.
there's so much more fun uses of powers in this movie, even compared to
More
Last Stand.
creative than,
Yeah.
right, exactly, than the straight up, yeah, I can do this. and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he is just like a very skilled guy, Like he made, I forget what his first movie was, but it's the one where never mind.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just like I think it's like just on like one of those like best movies of all time lists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you think they represented the Sentinels in this
It's
movie?
different, but I like it. I was also saying to Jack, like, it's crazy that I must have had like such a Mandela effect. Like, this is the first X-Men movie where even like Sentinels are like a thing.
Right.
Really. Like in The Last Stand, they have it in the Danger Room,
Right.
but that's it. Like, this is the first time we're getting Sentinels.
They were portrayed to me as like incredibly overpowered, like
Yeah.
unstoppable.
Yeah, they
like
were
no matter
scary.
who was out there facing them, man, these things could just adapt, change, learn.
Well, then you had the '60s big purple robot
Right.
versions.
Right. Which basically did the same thing, except they didn't morph into
Yeah.
anything. It was, but this was scary.
Yeah, it's almost like a horror movie at times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was scary.
Yeah, I mean, the way all of the X-Men get taken out is just fucking horrific.
Yeah.
Iceman gets melted.
I mean, his head gets.
And then
Broken
his
off.
head
Broken
gets
off,
yeah.
broken off and stamped on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Look
mean,
at-
fucking Colossus,
Yeah.
when he punches the Sentinel basically
Turned into
turns
Yeah.
into him and just punches him right the fuck back.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
pounded
insane.
the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Storm got impaled.
Impaled while she was flying.
Warpath at one point, I'm pretty sure the Sentinel's just shooting fire, and then he
Yes.
just like puts his head into it.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
That was
Even
crazy.
like Sunspot is
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
killed terribly.
Genuinely, a horror movie.
Yeah.
The time travel itself kind of does have its flaws, because like why couldn't they just keep having like Kitty Pryde go back like 2 weeks or whatever with like different people,
What do you mean?
Because like if Bishop went back 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
it's not the same Kitty Pryde, so like she wouldn't be under any strain, so she could just keep telling somebody else to go back 2 weeks or whatever.
No,
Why?
I don't get what you're trying to say.
So
Like an Inception type of thing.
yeah,
I don't know if it works like that.
I don't see why not.
I don't know.
Because
Yeah, if
like
you're picking
technically
the
you're-
point in time to go back to, you should be able to pick the point 2 weeks earlier than that. And,
and just like keep linking it. I don't know. So I thought this portrayal of Wolverine wasn't necessarily like accurate, but probably was like one of the best like character studies.
It's also like a complete flip, like his and Charles' relationship from the first X-Men movie.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting to watch.
Yeah.
You mean like with the young one?
Well, yeah, because in the first X-Men, it's the older Charles teaching the young Wolverine, and then it's completely role reversed in this one.
Yeah.
I also just love the way he knocks fucking beasts right in the face.
Yeah.
And he's like, me and you are going to be very good friends, pal.
I really liked like all the details where like there's a lot where he doesn't have his like adamantium skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just like looking back at like a metal detector, because usually
Yeah.
that would
Yeah.
fuck him up.
yeah.
Even stuff like when Beast throws him onto the table probably would have broken if he had it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And he was like bracing himself for it even.
Yeah. What do you guys think of Nicholas Holt's Beast?
I always liked him. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
he was
don't have a
good.
problem
with it.
That was fine.
I really liked
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I do like his Beast quite a bit.
Yeah.
I even thought that I don't know if you get this CGI in the non-road cut, but like when he de-beasts in the house.
I don't know.
But I thought that CGI was actually, it's a little uncanny, but it's actually pretty good.
I did like his characterization though, because like you can see like how well done it is that like he will go on to become like a representative mutant on like the human side of things.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, that's even, constantly being examined in all of the, I guess, McAvoy X-Men movies.
Yeah.
He doesn't like being blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Right.
like he
Correct.
just wants to be as human as he can. So
The one thing I didn't like is like him asking if he was gonna live, because like I feel like that just.
well, that's not in the regular cut.
I think it is. It's
it
just like
really?
a different. Like it's at the final battle. I'm pretty sure they say it, because I saw that.
Okay.
So yeah, but I don't know. It just felt like never followed up on.
Yeah.
so.
McAvoy as young Charles is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You know.
agree.
He just jumps into that and just brings it to a new level. I always liked him, but going back and watching him in this movie, he really brought life to it.
I'd say both McAvoy and Fassbender do great. That's the younger version.
Yeah,
Most
Fassbender
certainly. I always liked Fassbender.
Fit right
Yeah.
into that
Yeah.
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 perfectly.
I mean, even McKellen and Stewart they don't have like as much screen time
Yeah.
in this movie, but like they're both killing it.
No,
Oh,
they-
very good.
absolutely.
most certainly.
Yeah.
Oh my
And
God.
again, what I like in all of these movies is they all want the same thing, but they have different approaches to it, and they have a respect for each other
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
throughout the whole thing.
But I think the thing that also helps that is Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart are really good friends in
they
real
are.
life.
Yeah.
they
It's
are.
same thing with James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
They're really good best
Wow.
friends in
That
real life.
that always helps in
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
you're acting.
So I think that helps. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it really
Yeah,
does.
definitely great chemistry. Like I feel like just from everyone in these movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, definitely
Okay,
lends
so
itself.
Mystique, original or new?
I like the original actress. I don't like her writing so much though.
Oh, Rebecca
Mhm.
Rom.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
Rebecca.
Yeah. I mean, she's like a full-on independent character in this one. I'd say
Mm-hmm.
didn't really get that much from Mystique in the first like movies.
Oh, okay.
Her
The first
importance
three,
of-
yeah.
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 it's kind of just like a blank slate.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of some of the new performances and actors and characters like Quicksilver and Trask?
Quicksilver blew me away.
Yeah.
Quicksilver
That was
is
such a cool
And like
scene.
you said, it was done so classy, so, as opposed to like The Flash, where it's just,
Yeah.
to have that, him doing his thing while everything around him is just super slow motion, it's...
so much of that is all like CGI too.
Oh, sure.
It just looks incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. There's my my character of the movie. That's the guy.
Character of the
Is
movie.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My scene of the
Yeah,
movie.
and the scene of the movie is when they break out Magneto,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and they have that whole thing with the
Time in a bottle.
time in a bottle.
Yeah.
That was the best scene in the entire movie.
For sure, hands down.
Yeah.
I do think it like ruined speedsters for a while though. For like the
Probably.
last 10
It even
years.
ruined Quicksilver in the following movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just tried to redo it.
Yeah, because it's like I guess the first time it's ever been seen is maybe Megamind, but just like if you're able to completely stop time, like you're
Invincible.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, basically.
True.
I really like Trask in this too.
Oh,
Peter
Uh,
Dinklage is
yeah.
great.
he was fantastic in this.
It's just such a great performance, and even when he's Mystique,
Mhm.
it's like the same thing with Brian Cox. How like you just like catch the character so well.
Yeah.
I also like how they didn't like make any like references that he's like a midget.
No,
Is that
I-
the right word?
no,
it probably
little
is
person.
little person. I don't know,
Yeah.
but you don't even think that he is a little person in this movie. He just plays the part of anybody else. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
It is hilarious though that in The Last Stand he's portrayed as a black man,
Yeah.
and then in this one he's just
Yeah,
Peter
wow.
Dinklage.
Yeah.
Continuity has never been the
No.
X-Men strong suit,
Yeah.
It's true.
but somehow it works in this one. They just tie it all together.
Yeah.
He's for me, he's an incredible. Every performance he does, his physical height
Yep.
has absolutely no bearing
Mm-hmm.
on what you're watching, what you're seeing, and what you're feeling.
100%.
Like in
the,
God.
the only thing it was really focused on was
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's what he was in that.
Yeah, well,
you know?
they used to make fun of him
yeah,
of that.
yeah,
but
exactly.
performance-wise,
No, he was
he
probably
was
one of the
huge.
biggest performers
Yeah,
in it.
absolutely.
Most certainly.
Yeah,
You know.
I mean
Yeah.
his stature in this movie as
Yeah.
Trask is impalpable.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
and that's what I was trying to get to. It wasn't just this, little man with. How does a little guy like that get? And so many people fear him and everything.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
he presents himself with such a large presence.
yeah. I mean,
right?
even like William Stryker, there was like a power dynamic almost like between them in
Right.
scenes in this movie, and he's almost not cowering to Trask, but he's definitely
Yeah.
a smaller guy.
Most certainly.
Apprentice to him, I'd say.
I thought the actor that played Stryker was well chosen for this movie as well.
Yeah. I even like that you get flashbacks to X2 in this movie,
Yeah.
and you see that Stryker,
Yeah.
Who was also another good striker.
Brian Cox.
I thought the moment where Charles speaks to himself, it really just encapsulates the whole movie. It's kind of like the same way that like the Magneto and Charles scenes like encapsulate the other movies.
Even just like the lighting, like the church lights, or the like, glass panes that reflect all those lights in that scene, and the way that they like distort
Yeah.
Charles's like vision when I guess he's looking at the past version of himself. It's just so great.
Yeah.
Like that's a really creative way to like do the 180.
Yeah. It's such like an interesting way to just like show like because like what your mind pictures is not like a perfect representation of like what you see or whatever. But yeah, I just thought it was like well done.
I also thought that Patrick Stewart's Charles's speech encapsulates almost like the whole essence of the franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought the action in this was pretty flawless.
Yeah.
I also really like how they portrayed all the accurate old footage stuff was very well done.
It was done with some
Yeah.
real footage.
Yeah. I mean, even
know,
just like
it's-
how it's like implemented was well done, but like what you see, it's just like accurate to like what it would look like, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of movies don't get that right, even though I've seen like random YouTube videos that do it better than most.
Right.
But
I also like the thing. There's always somebody there with like that Sabruta film camera going.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like a big day or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't,
yeah.
it's even like the nod of like there's 3 major networks and PBS.
Yeah.
thing.
Like all those lines are just so funny. Just like
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I don't know if you guys saw, because you guys didn't watch the Rogue cut.
No.
No.
So when they go to grab Quicksilver from his house,
Mm-hmm.
they mention like his mom, or like
Yeah.
you see his little sister there, and she's like, "I'm a wizard," and then maybe that's supposed to be Wanda,
Mm-hmm.
and then Wolverine looks at her like, "I'm the Wolverine,"
Yeah.
and then their moms like, go upstairs and annoy your sister, and then she's like, no, she annoys me. So I think that's supposed to be a nod to Wanda, and I think Polaris is Magneto's third child.
Yeah.
Do they mention that Magneto is Quicksilver's father in this?
The only thing we get is that my mom knew a guy who could do that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they do actually. Then they kind of reference it
Okay.
slightly,
yeah.
but it's confirmed in Apocalypse, and then they never do anything with it.
Okay. I was just curious.
So in essence, he broke out his dad.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. That's what I was just thinking.
Yeah.
I also feel like at this point, CGI, like something has to go really wrong, like the Flash, for it to even be like detectable. You know, like I couldn't really think of anything that was wrong with it at this point. So
No, I mean, even like we said during the Quicksilver scene, you could maybe even tell me that some of that was practical, and I believe you. It looks.
I mean, I think the only thing that was practical is like his him. You know.
Yeah. I mean, they were blowing like huge wind cannons into his
Yeah.
face, and they were just wetting his hair.
Yeah.
Other than that, the rain is not the rain, but the sprinklers are
Sprinklers.
CGI. Everything else is CGI. It's just the people.
done.
that
They
They just
aren't.
did it
awesome.
so well, like a bullet cutting through the droplet of water and just everything else.
Yeah,
And
even
the
like
last-
getting
but
the
last
orange
bullet he
juice.
moves is the one that's on basically his dad. That's the last bullet he moves.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I like how that was almost like an afterthought. You know, like he stopped everyone else first.
Yeah, but even the knives and hatchets and everything that were going to hit the security guards.
Yeah,
So he just
You
wanted
said
out
it was stylized. It
Yeah.
was done
yeah.
very well.
extremely well.
And just to the point of like how stylized this movie is, like even like in that place that they're in with all those church windows, like I was saying, it's just like you don't get that in MCU movies. You really don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just details throughout that whole movie. Even the welcome mat at his house
Yeah.
is it's
Burned.
And the house full of all things because he's got sticky fingers. He's got
Twinkies.
all-
All,
yeah,
Even
he
how, like-
always has to eat. It's
Yeah.
the calories.
Yeah.
So
Within
he's
like
always
one shot of
Yeah.
like looking away from him.
Yeah.
So in
And-
one
and then
shot
it's-
he has a popsicle, and,
and
then
then it's
like
done.
in the next it's done.
Yeah. And then they look around the room,
Mhm.
asking him basically if he's like able to help them, and then Charles is like, "All right, you kleptomaniac."
All the comedy in this is done really well.
It is done
The
well.
the only one, and I know you like it, but the only one that I don't love is you're on some really bad acid.
I feel like that scene works a lot better, just like faster. You know.
It just undercuts. It's the one time that you have that like jokey undercut situation. It
I really
bothers
liked
me.
it though. It's just like you're on really bad acid, man. I don't know. It
Apparently
works.
that was improvised as well.
Hey, apparently Charles was a druggie too, though. There was a joint sitting in his ashtray by his bed in his bedroom.
Yeah, I mean,
It was the 70s, I guess, but
Yeah.
still.
True.
Oh yeah. All
speaking,
the
I guess,
historical
of that,
references are great.
what did you guys think about the magic serum that takes away his powers but makes him able to walk?
They almost made it seem like he was a heroin addict.
yeah, that's what I thought when I
You
saw
know, like
that.
he was just blown out on it, but that's, he wanted to walk. I
guess, like,
if I had to choose.
In concept, though, like,
But
well, I mean,
it
like,
takes
what
the
is that?
voices in my head away.
but like, how would that even work?
I don't know how it works.
know?
And that's one of the odd things of, I guess, the MCU. But something he invented, what was the serum?
It was the same serum that Beast used to not be blue, which I mean, they talk about him using like in First Class.
Yeah.
But it just strange to me that like he'd be able to walk but lose his powers.
Yeah. I don't know that I'm not a fucking spine doctor,
Yeah.
but like I don't know what would be wrong with his spine, or like it only hit one part of his spine, but I don't know what would be wrong.
Or I don't know like
That.
what could be fixed by taking the serum. I
Yeah.
guess, that's where it gets a little
Yeah.
stretched out
The
for
the
me.
fact that like he made some sort of serum that also fixes your spine is weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's just where
Yeah.
it gets stretched a little thin,
It's a little
in my
weird, yeah.
opinion. But other than that, I guess I'll take it.
Shooting up. Anyway, continue.
I thought all of the historical references outside of their like respective scenes, I don't think they had too much like influence other than just like subtext and world building.
Mhm.
You know,
Dad and I were talking about the Richard Nixon actor. He's doing a great job.
Who was
Oh,
right
really?
on
Yeah.
spot. Yeah.
pretty like ambitious, just like have him out in the open like
Yeah.
that. You know?
Yeah.
And just, I love the scene also, like something like major just happens. He's just immediately like, fuck.
But see, that's a big Nixon thing. He was supposed to be the president that cursed more than any
Oh,
other
yeah.
president of the time.
Oh yeah.
I also love
Yeah.
the Peter Dinklage scenes with the president in this movie. Just great.
Definitely.
He's highballing him.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. Rogue. I sent like a 5-minute thing. Did you guys watch
I
that?
didn't get a chance to. I will
Yeah, we got
just to complete my
Yeah.
my thoughts on the movie, but
So does make this movie take like a drastically different turn.
Is it one scene or is it?
There's a bunch of little things like
Right.
throughout, but there's a
But
major
most of this-
chunk.
yeah.
Pretty much like that 5-minute thing that I sent is the major chunk that's like in addition. You know the scene when Magneto goes to get his helmet
Mm-hmm.
from basically where they had
The
him captured?
museum or
Which-
whatever? Or?
Which is also one of another great scene in that movie.
It is
just
great.
looking through that. It's like a museum
Yeah.
Yeah,
almost. You got the coin that he put through.
that was the coin,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Then you had Angel's one wing there,
Right.
which was
Havoc's-
reference to the
they-
photo
Havoc
earlier.
suit.
Yeah,
I kind of thought that was one of my least favorite scenes.
Really?
Honestly, yeah. I just thought it was like a weird, like, what the fuck are these things doing here? First of all,
Mhm.
and just like I don't know, it felt like they were trying to like bring the magic back of like the Magneto like escape scene from X2.
Mm.
I don't know.
I think it works so much better in the road cut though.
I don't know.
Because-
I mean, I watched the road cut though.
In the road cut, you have it's intercut with this new scene. So
Okay.
like this new scene is, Charles, Bobby, Iceman, and Magneto go to the X Mansion because Rogue is being kept in Cerebro and experimented on because
Okay.
agents have taken over the mansion.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to go in and save Rogue
Right.
because she can take Kitty's powers because Kitty's losing blood because Wolverine slashed her by accident. You remember that? She was
Okay.
slashed.
Yeah.
So then, they go to get Rogue and they have to escape the mansion. There's all like sentinels and stuff. And it's kind of Ian McKellen's, showing out party for this movie, getting his time in the sun or
Right.
the spotlight, whatever. And it's intercut with Fassbender breaking into
To the
the
yeah.
security place and getting the helmet.
right.
And there's a part where, like, right as he gets the helmet, I'm pretty sure Magneto, like, does something big. He, like, busts them out of there. And ultimately, Bobby dies on this rescue mission.
Correct. Yeah, because Magneto grabs Rogue,
Yeah.
and the Sentinels are attacking, and he kind of just builds like a metal wall
Yeah.
between them, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Rogue is in the original one, just like for 5 seconds though, and she just like shows up, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's when the Sentinels start melting
yeah.
him.
Then I did see that scene
Okay.
when I was looking through my highlights. Yeah,
Gotcha.
I thought that was very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bobby didn't do well.
Yeah.
No.
Dies a couple times in this movie.
Yeah,
But yeah, then, Rogue ultimately just comes in, takes over Kitty's powers, and then she just goes, "Hello, Logan."
Hello,
and
Logan. Yeah.
he was like, "Rogue." And that's it, really.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I thought that it was a really well done Magneto scene.
I liked the like old version of it better.
What, like old Magneto?
Yeah.
Or the old?
Old Magneto.
Yeah, I think he's actually my favorite performance in this
Yeah.
movie.
Do you like the future or past more in this? I think the road cut will make you like the future better.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I like the future already. So
I mean, the past. It's both great in my opinion. I
think the past
writing,
is better characterization, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but,
The writing between Magneto and Charles in the future, though, I think really helps to like emphasize just how like shitty their relationship is in the past.
Yeah.
right.
Because Magneto's even like all those years wasted fighting each other. Just
That's
have
right.
a few of them back, and then they embrace.
Yeah,
I just thought that was.
But
really
together
powerful.
with an idea of, because let's look at this though. In this version of the movie, Magneto is 100% right.
Mhm.
What humanity is going to do to the mutants is 100% correct.
Yeah.
So looking at them, there's so many wasted years. They could have worked together with some type of idea of the middle of the road, trying to make things better.
yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? So
I even I really like Magneto. Just like ultimately, it's something he would definitely do. Is like they get there to stop Raven, and immediately he's like, I'm just gonna kill her. That'll solve it. It's just,
yeah.
Yeah.
quick and easy.
yeah,
That's kind of the way he is.
yeah. Just like
you know.
But yeah, because this is the problem. This is the way to fix it.
Yeah.
And that's all he's about.
I also love
You know.
Beast tackling him, and then the gun is still in use.
Yes.
And then ultimately he just takes the bullet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just a great, use
this
of
was-
powers.
Done incredibly well. As far as movie, and like you said, time travel movies aren't usually as smooth or but this kind of rolled out for me anyway perfectly. Where everything was understandable. Like you said, it had a hiccup here
Yeah.
and there, but what do you think of Storm's powers in this?
I mean, again,
They
muted.
underutilized.
I thought Magneto wanting to kill Mystique was like a mask off moment though, just because like how many others would you be willing to do that for? Until
it's almost
It's, like,
hypocritical
safe
too, because he has that whole scene on the plane where he's berating Charles for letting that many mutants die.
yeah.
And it's like you would kill one of your best, like your family member almost.
He's tried to kill her multiple times already.
That's true. I'm sorry, you're not one of us now.
Final scene is Wolverine waking up in the future to find Iceman, Rogue, Colossus, Pride, Beast, Storm, Jean Grey, Cyclops, and Xavier all alive. I just felt like it's such an amazing payoff moment.
Yeah. The good ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With, like, for all of them, you know? It
Yeah.
kind of, like, even deletes some of the other scenes.
And Wolverine is a professor of history, but he has to learn what the hell happened from 1973 till now.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, like, Professor X could be keeping clones of the other Wolverine's mind.
But Professor X sort of had a plan for it, it seemed like, at the end.
Yeah.
You know, we need to talk.
Yeah.
But I think this movie very much does go back to, it's a kind of like a horror movie because they go through all this bullshit, all this crap, and then it ends with such a lovely ending.
Yeah.
How far in the future?
I believe it's 8 years after The Last Stand. I think the new feature for this takes place 8 years after Last Stand.
But they have, like, projectors and shit.
They're the X-Men. They have a fucking
guess.
plane that comes out of a basketball court.
I don't know. It did just, like, I'm just saying, it felt, like, very futuristic.
Yeah.
I mean, they do kind of keep up with it going into Logan then. It is crazy, like, you know, we get this happy ending and then, like, immediately, like, Logan is, like, the next step
such a
of
sad-
these people.
So I thought this movie's definitely in, like, the top 10 superhero movies.
Yes.
I'd put
It's my favorite X-Men movie.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I'd say it's not that influential, weirdly enough. It does make competition for other superhero movies to, like, have more complex stories, but I feel like it doesn't really show up anywhere else, really.
I mean, Endgame is the closest thing I could think to.
Yeah, but you do make a
this
point,
movie.
a complex movie. This movie was packed with a lot of, like, intelligent scenes.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't just slapstick, action.
Yeah. Like,
It was,
to my point, and even to what Dad's saying, like, the difference between this movie and Endgame is, you know, it's, in my opinion, you know, not very close.
I mean, I'd say you could make a case that Endgame is, like, a just natural progression of the MCU. Like, I don't think it really has anything to do with Days of Future Past.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, they took the concept of going back and fixing things, you know. And this movie did it first, and it did it better.
I wasn't even thinking of that.
Yeah,
But-
I agree.
Yeah.
I definitely agree.
I don't think they're, you know, necessarily copying
No,
this
yeah,
movie
right.
with Endgame, but I just think conceptually, you know, like I said, happened beforehand, and it was, you know, better the first time around.
Least favorite scene? I already said mine was Magneto walking to the museum or whatever.
See, that was one of my top scenes.
I just, like, where even was he still? I still don't know. Like, where was he walking into to get
It's
his
the
shit?
place where he was held captive.
It's just weird. Like, why would they have all that shit on display, though?
Because it's like the Pentagon or some shit.
So? Fucking...
It was like also, it's the museum above, and then underneath he was being
I
held.
get that, but it's just, like, weird. Like, they have, like, the bloody coin and all that, and, like, I don't, like, why would they have that at the Pentagon?
I don't know if it's actually the Pentagon. Is
It-
it?
it's just
where,
like,
where did they break into?
I can't
right?
think of a situation unless it's, like, a fucking evil villain's lair for them to have that, you know?
It was a museum.
I know, but, like, why, like... It
But
just
it was
does
a
not
museum
make
hidden
sense.
in a.
You
It
know?
was like in a secured room, though.
Yeah, it wasn't
Because
a
he was
public,
underneath.
It
No,
wasn't,
it wasn't
for
a public
viewing.
viewing.
Because doesn't he, like,
It was
unlock
like
the
something
thing?
Stryker would
Yeah,
do in the
that's true.
future. You know,
It was something that somebody that hated mutants would
yeah.
want to keep.
It could have been
Yeah.
Trask's
You know,
private
yeah,
office for all I know.
somebody's.
True.
Yeah.
You know, every little piece of a mutant we get to
Yeah.
wipe out.
Yeah, you also, I guess, think that, like, you know, they are hated by the public.
Yeah.
So.
It just does not make that much sense to me,
Yeah,
and didn't fulfill its potential.
that didn't ruin the movie though.
No.
That
Anyways,
was-
least favorite scenes?
yeah.
Least favorite scene for me.
I just didn't like the way they got rid of Storm.
Mm-hmm.
I like that was like such like a
Yeah.
you know, I'm waiting for her to do all these amazing things, and then it's like she turns around and gets stabbed. You know,
Yeah.
the fights in like you said with Colossus and
Yeah.
Iceman, and
Yeah.
that was just incredible. But Storm, they kind of just said, all right, we don't need a killer.
I guess if I really had to pick one, it would probably be like the you're on bad acid scene. But even that doesn't bother me too much.
I think for me, it's when Professor X is getting that juice inside him, you know?
He's pumping himself.
Pumping himself up. Yeah, full of whatever the
spine
fuck.
juice.
Spine juice, yeah. whatever the fuck that shit is.
Yeah.
That was just such a. I can never see Professor X doing that crap. So I don't know.
I was a very different man back then.
I can't think of one off the top of my head here, in all honesty. The whole scene, I guess, with tearing up the baseball field to encircle the White House
Yeah.
or the Capitol there, I was like,
They ruined baseball.
Yeah, I mean, it is very over the top, but
Mhm.
I don't know. I didn't mind it.
Yeah, but I mean, did he really need a stadium to do that?
He likes grand
Yeah, I
showings.
guess
I
that's
guess.
true.
I think we're all almost on the same page for a favorite scene, unless yours is different.
My favorite scene is the midpoint when Mystique is trying to kill Trask.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that was actually a pretty cool
I like that
scene.
as well.
When she jumps out, she gets shot.
It's just so much
Yeah.
of the story.
Mhm.
It's just a perfect midpoint, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just because it was a twist in what was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And it was like you said, it was like a last minute. You know what? She's the problem.
Yeah.
We got to get rid of her.
Yeah.
You know?
I completely agree, and
Mhm.
I'd say it's probably like my second favorite part of the thing, of this whole movie, just because it's such like a great character study on everyone in the room.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're all in agreement of Quicksilver.
Well, most
time,
certainly.
Yeah.
Oh,
time in a bottle.
incredible
scene.
scene. Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's just so well done, and then everything after that tried to copy it, it's just not even as good. Not even the X-Men movies that tried to copy it
Mhm.
in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Never
that's
live up
weird,
to that.
right? I mean, they got every detail
Mm-hmm.
done so well.
Yeah.
To his movement, to everything else happening all around, to the like you said. I know it's all CGI except for him, but the detail involved and even down to the physics of how things happen.
Yeah.
They got
Just nailed
right.
it. And then they try to do it again in like the next X-Men movie, and
Yeah.
it's not as good.
Even in the Flash, tried to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
It didn't work out.
I will say one thing. One scene that always makes me laugh is how easily Magneto just fucking took care of Wolverine,
Mhm.
put the barbed wire on him,
Yeah.
and just flung him into the
Yeah.
sea or the ocean.
That does bother me a bit too. I wish we would have gotten more of like a Logan and Magneto fight. Like
Yeah.
we finally have a chance now.
Right.
that Logan has no adamantium in him, and just immediately.
It's like that is another mask off moment. Just fucking how willing he is to kill Wolverine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, you could tell that he doesn't like him from like the instant, the second they meet, he doesn't like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to pick up all
Wolverine
that shit?
shows no respect.
Want to pick all that shit up now?
Yeah.
He even sees the claws. He's like, imagine if they were metal.
Mm-hmm.
Wolverine with bone claws isn't the threat
Yeah.
that he is with the adamantium.
The adamantium.
you know?
I just think.
I feel like they didn't really show that he would heal faster.
right.
Mhm.
Because he would.
I mean, he got shot in that one fight scene he really has in this movie.
I guess. Yeah. I also really like the lead up to the Quicksilver scene. Just whiplash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whiplash.
If this was in the MCU, how would you rank it with other MCU movies?
Oh, it's pretty high up.
It would
Yeah,
be up
it's still
there.
high
Definitely
up,
in the top
sure.
5, right?
Yeah.
Surprisingly high for a Fox movie.
Yeah.
I'd say
But-
it's up there with Civil War and everything.
Mhm.
Better.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would put it in my top 5, probably.
Final rating?
I'm gonna go with an 8.
I was at seven
That's
and a
what I
half
was thinking.
myself.
I was thinking 7.5, but probably an 8.
8 just feels better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
Sounds good with me. 8.
8 because it had a happy ending.
Yeah. But
Anything with a
it had
happy ending is good.
had a weird fucking ending because Apocalypse.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
did
God.
forget
That-
about
that
that.
Well,
weird
there's also
little-
another. It might only be in the
It's
road
in the
cut,
road cut only.
but
Mm.
in the road cut, there's a post credit where Trask is in the prison that Magneto was in,
Yeah.
which is just
Which
fucking
is weird.
stupid.
Yeah.
'Cause
Now-
what is he gonna do?
Magneto was going to that museum with the
Mhm.
stuff. Right outside, there was 2 guards and the guy sitting at the desk, and he was walking with the 2
Yeah.
Yeah, the 2
balls.
balls.
It is
yeah.
like a
That was pretty
callback
cool.
to that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was because that was a huge metal door right behind
Yeah.
him,
Yeah.
like big ass safe door.
Mm-hmm.
But now that you're bringing it up, I'm starting to remember that is kind of a little weird that they would have those artifacts
Mm-hmm.
and then have the guards there. It wasn't like just placed in a dark area of.
Yeah. Well, maybe they're
Museum.
just like high security item.
Mm.
It is
Yeah, but
weird
none
to
of
put
them
them on
have
display,
power.
though.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like
You know, it's
Thor's
not like a
hammer or whatever.
gauntlet,
Yeah.
or it's just weird. It was just memorabilia, basically.
I like the point that you made, though. Like, I can get on that train of thought where it's like, it's some sick, twisted guys, like,
Right.
Where
shit.
where
That would be
is
the
it,
only
though?
reason.
I still don't know. Where is it?
It's
you
in
know?
where the fuck do they break into? It's the Pentagon,
I
right?
thought it was the Pentagon they broke into because
Yeah.
that's what they made a big deal
No,
of.
'cause that's
Sub-level?
after the breakup.
No,
that we know.
That's where Magneto's held. Is the Pentagon.
I know, but does he go back to the Pentagon then?
Now we're just on two different trains of thought.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
just wrap this up. I like how even at the end he's like, he flies away. Just like,
Yep. But see, that was it, because he plays that part perfectly to the older version of him and the younger version. Still, that flamboyancy is there.
Yeah.
That's why I like this road cut version, because they never get their time on screen together, but just like intercutting the evolution of the character with where he is, in the past. It works for me.
With the whole stadium thing, I feel like the whole thing about like them not becoming the monsters that like people think they are, I felt like the solution to it was like kind of underhanded,
What do you mean?
It just felt like just like Mystique and all that. I don't know. I just didn't really like that moment too much.
Yeah, Mystique just like not killing Trask.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
Yeah. Because it's like putting most of the blame onto the like mutants themselves, I feel like.
And also, like, you don't think that after all this they wouldn't have gone through with the Sentinel program anyway?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess they didn't.
Well, Nixon did arrest Trask.
They didn't kill anyone, I guess, in the end, maybe?
I don't know. Like, just like Nixon says, "Now these mutants are fine," or whatever.
Yeah. Actually, I fucking love mutants.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it is a little convoluted.
And then secretly they're still building Sentinels
Yeah.
for when the day comes and they don't love them.
All right, so next up, we're going to do our big joint episode for Deadpool 1 and 2.
Oh, boy.
Gonna be a nice little retrospective on Mr. Poole.
Mr. Poole.
So wait, then is the Wolverine movies and then Logan, that's it then?
Yeah.
Doesn't she stick a ring pop up his ass?
I think we should just end on that.
International Women's Day.
You get the strap on. Let's make a super baby.